Right, it's 3:30. I'll call the Muskegon County Board of Commissioners to order for a full board meeting. I don't know, is there someone here to give the invocation? Commissioner Seer, do you?
Sure.
Would you like to?
Father, we come before you today. We just thank you for your goodness and your mercy and your love. And Father, as we move into another new year, Lord, I pray for unity on this board, God. Father, I pray, Lord, that for wisdom to manage the county's business, Lord, to do what's right. Father, and that the joy of the Lord be our strength today. In Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thank you. Pledge of allegiance.
What's that? Yeah,
Pledge of
yeah.
allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brown,
Here.
Commissioner Seer,
Here.
Commissioner Hovey Wright. Here. Commissioner Hughes.
Here.
Commissioner Larry.
Here.
Commissioner Nash.
Here.
Commissioner Pago.
Here.
Chairman Skolnick.
Here.
Commissioner Wilkins.
Here.
9 present.
Okay, thank you. I don't know. We have time now for public comment on the agenda item. I don't think there's anyone here from the public, but is there anyone online?
No one online is again.
Okay, there is no one to speak, then we'll move on. First item is the election of vice chair. So I will call for nominations are now open for the vice chairman. Are there any nominations for the vice chairman?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to nominate Susie Hughes.
Okay. I have a nomination for vice chair. I'd like to nominate Charles Nash. And I'm going to ask Mrs. Hughes to accept the nomination.
Yes, I do.
Okay, Mr. Nash, do you accept the nomination?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are there any additional nominations? Are there any additional nominations? Dennis Paul, are there any additional nominations? Okay.
Do you have to have seconds for those? No? Okay.
No,
No.
I have a script here. And it doesn't say-
I haven't done it. We haven't done this in person before. I don't know, I'm just asking. Well, that's right.
All right, so we have two nominations. There being no further nominations, I'll just restate that the nominations are closed. The candidates are Susie Hughes and Charles Nash. Is this an open ballot?
Yes.
So we'll just do a roll call on this.
Commissioner Brown,
What? Is
So which,
which candidate?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
so
sorry.
we're gonna do,
You're voting for Commissioner Hughes or Commissioner
okay.
Nash?
So for Commissioner Hughes, please.
Commissioner Seer,
Hughes, please.
Commissioner Hovey Wright,
Nash.
Commissioner Hughes,
Commissioner Hughes.
Commissioner Larry,
Commissioner Hughes.
Commissioner Nash.
Commissioner Nash.
Oh, sorry. Commissioner Pago,
Commissioner Hughes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Nash.
and Chairman Skolnick.
And I vote for Commissioner Nash.
Hughes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Nash, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, so so I guess we don't need a vote to close the nominations then at this point. If it is done. I'd like to say congratulations to Commissioner Hughes for being the new vice chair. And Mr. Nash, I'm going to see you every week anyway. Because nice conferring with you. Okay, so that's, we have a new vice chair. Then now is the swearing in of the
Swear
board.
her in.
do solemnly
I
swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm that I will support
or affirm that I will support
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the state,
and the Constitution of the state,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of Vice Chairperson to the Muskegon County Board of
of
Commissioners
Vice Chairperson to the Muskegon County Board of Commissioners
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
You're here.
Okay, thank you. The next item on today's agenda is the adoption of the 2022 calendar. It's enclosed in your, was enclosed in the
So moved.
report. We would have a motion that's been supported. Yes, Marcia.
Yeah, I noticed that we went from from 2 meetings, full board meetings a month to 1, except for January and September. And I'm just kind of wondering what the reasoning is there.
Yes, I'll explain that. The reason for 2 full board meetings is really to handle the second Ways and Means of the bills. We would like to reduce that to 1 Ways and Means, therefore you don't need the second full board.
Say that again?
It removes the need for a second full board meeting if we combine all the Ways and Means motions into 1. Which, speaking to our finance director, that's possible to make that happen. The benefit of that, it opens up 2 days for additional, if there's
Special meetings.
special meetings or work sessions, an example, it opens that up. If we have nothing, we don't need to meet those 2 extra days. And then if we want to have a special board meeting, we have time to do that as well.
And we have to have 18 hours notice for the special board?
Correct.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? If not, probably should do a roll call on this.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavy Wright,
Yes?
Vice Chair Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Larry,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay, next is item 9, the adoption of the Administrative Settlement Authority. We need a
So moved.
motion and support. Mark, you want to just? briefly-
Yes, the settlement authority is if there was a settlement in the easiest way to example is a lawsuit, right? And an employee wants to settle something relatively small, that this would go through that process. I have not needed this the last couple of years. I think we used it the first 14, 15, maybe 16
I think so.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yep.
It's not used very frequently, but when a settlement is asked for and they call, I answer obviously and say, yes, we can do that. Obviously, if it's a large amount, we're going to bring that back to the board where the insurance, obviously insurance covers anything above 250,000. So this would go to the board, anything above 15,000 to 250,000, anything above 15,000 from the board.
What is the purpose of, is there some expedience? Sorry, Mr. Chair.
Oh, yes, Mr. Warren, go ahead.
Is there an expedient reason for this? I'm not sure why we would need this. And how would the commission be notified? This already
Could you talk
happened.
louder, please?
This already happened, so how would we know that it, let's say there was a settlement for 14 grand. How would we be notified of this transaction? And are these kind of, it hasn't happened in a while, but is there an expedience? Is there a need to do it so quickly?
Maybe our corporate counsel would have a better example than I, but it's just usually when there's a settlement with an employee, there's always a,
So it's usually a grievance filed by, just in the past.
well, if there's a grievance, it's normally resolved through the grievance. If there's a union employee, it's resolved through that matter. And yes, there could be a settlement for an employee who was terminated or left, or there was, there's a variety of possibilities, but it doesn't happen frequently enough. Mike, you have any?
Well, the example that comes to my mind is the work comp issue that we had recently, right? Where it was a tiny amount and, we still had to get through that resolution process to do that. So, usually it's an expedience issue where you have, say, a mediation and you'd like to get an agreement right then and there if it's, under that amount. But certainly the board can define those amounts that it would like, or not at all, have everything come to the board. But usually there's some settlement authority that's given.
So this happened for recently, and how were we notified about it?
It was brought to a closed session. So
Yeah, remember that. And this is for $15,000 or less, correct?
And this has been our policy for a long time.
yeah, as long, before I was. Sure.
Yeah, I honestly, I've been here almost 20 years. I don't even remember seldom, if ever, that I remember this happening. But
You have a question?
I was just wondering, I thought that settlement agreement requires the administrator to notify the chairman before that settlement takes place.
Yeah, so the chairperson of the Sioux County Board of Commissioners and the chairperson of the Sioux County Board of Commissioners for the Ways and Means Committee.
So there is an amount of notification that goes to the board, so.
yes, in the next item, when we get to the next agenda item, that does require him to confer with the chairman too.
And it does say after was reported to the full board. To members of the county board of commissioners at the next full board
Yeah,
meeting.
item
So.
C.
It happened, it's like it doesn't happen, so we're not good at it. I don't want to say we're not good at it. Okay, why don't we do a roll call on this one too?
Commissioner Harvey Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hughes,
Yes,
Commissioner Laring,
No.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes,
Commissioner Pago,
No.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes,
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes,
7 yes, 2 no.
Oh, I understand.
this one.
I'll talk about that.
Okay. All right, next up is item 10, which is the adoption of the administrator's spending authority. Mark, do you want to explain that one? to what-
so moved.
support.
Okay, motion's been made, it's been supported.
What this is set aside for is what you're really doing is waiving the purchasing of procurement policies. Because currently the directors, myself, the elected directors all have the authorities to go out for 3 quotes up to 25,000 already. So this would waive the procurement process of going through that. And again, this is an emergency situation where I need to spend money to get something rolling and the authority to sign off on it.
Are there any questions on that? If not, roll call on this one too, please.
Vice Chair Hughes,
Yes,
Commissioner Laring,
No,
Commissioner Nash,
yes,
Commissioner Pago,
No.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
yes,
Commissioner Seer,
No.
Commissioner Harvey Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes,
6 yes, 3 no.
okay, thank you. All right, item 11 is the 2022 committee assignments. The only thing that's changing at this point is the vice chair. Everything else remains as it is. The committee assignments are the same, really. Well, the next item is the liaison appointments, but I didn't change anything. So whatever meetings you're going to continue to go to.
Does that require a motion?
I'm sorry.
Does that require a motion?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I'll read a motion. then.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion that's been supported by Commissioner Pego. Is there any other discussion on that? If not, okay. No, I don't know if I can do a voice vote on that, but let's just do a roll call.
Commissioner Larry,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavy Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hughes,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay, and then which one?
12.
Yeah, item 12 is the commissioner liaison appointments. Those will also remain as they are.
You need a motion for that too
I'll
then.
need a
So moved.
motion for that. You making a motion?
Yep.
I'll support Commissioner Nash. Is there any further discussion of that? I did want to double the number of meetings that everybody had, but I couldn't find any more times to have it.
Thank you, Chair School.
All right, roll call on that one too.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Commissioner Pago,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Heavy Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Larry,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay, that passes. The next item is 13. It is a request to allow the staff to negotiate a contract for inmate medical healthcare services not to exceed $2.23 million and adjust the budget accordingly and authorize the board chair to sign the agreement.
Right.
Okay, I have motions been supported. Mark, do you want to just bring us up to speed on this?
Yes, the board approved this November 9th, and we said we could bring this back before December 30th. Obviously, that didn't happen. But we did get 3 quotes, 3 bids on this, and the bids were opened up yesterday at 2 p.m. The review committee received the packets yesterday afternoon. And you got those out to them so they could review them last night and this morning. And then they met at 10 a.m. this morning and went through the process and came back with this recommendation to this company to move forward with negotiations. The idea is to have them in place by January 15th. So they have a meeting scheduled for Friday to sit down with this company to negotiate that number, obviously to bring it down to more in line with what Health West was charging us. But yet they have to go through that process to negotiate that. And that was part of this RFQ process, the negotiation step.
Okay, are there any?
I have a couple
Susan,
questions.
yes, go ahead.
Yeah, did this go through procurement or did?
Yes, that's-
Okay. And another question I had is, it says it should be noted that this is a base amount. There were often additional charges for services at year end over and above the contract price for pharmacy and medical. Do we know that there is not going to be any overages?
Well, that statement is for the company we had before Health West.
Mhm.
But in the new contract, we, under Sheriff Sanford worked on that, and they'll tighten that up.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, yes. Marcia, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm concerned about the increase in the budget in the general fund, 677,000 for the jail and 55,000 for JTC. Where are we gonna get the money for that?
Well, and that's a valid question, and I would say, let's see where the negotiations takes us. If they can get it more in line with what Health West is doing, great. What additional services they're providing, we need to hear about that as well. But we need to at least move the next step forward to start negotiating this contract. So it's a valid question, and we'll work through that as the numbers come in.
But, I mean, I would think that they're gonna hear that we approved this amount.
Well, they do, but it doesn't mean we have to sign a contract. I mean, all we're doing is getting board approval to start moving forward on this process. I
On
mean,
negotiation.
Yeah, they gave us the number. They know it's out there. And that's the number they provided.
But that's not the number we're accepting, right? We're
We're just
actually,
saying not to exceed that amount. Yeah.
but,
And we're not approving that amount by saying yes.
so I guess I'm saying the
That's the
same thing as Marcia. It's gonna come back to us again, correct?
If you would like for it to, yes.
Yes.
I'd like for it to
The
come back again.
problem is that we're in a real bind there. We don't have, we can't be
But I thought
having this go from month to month anymore.
the community mental health said that they would stay with us until we got somebody else, correct?
Well, I did ask Director Rupp to join us today to answer those questions, but it's been relayed to me by her that they have to be done by the 15th. They have a really difficult time bringing in staff, nurses to continue that service. So if you want this brought back to you, I would also ask permission to have a special board meeting on Tuesday, just to prove that one item.
Can't we amend this? Can we amend sorry.
We could have a special board meeting. I have no objection to that whatsoever, but we can't wait.
Or we could say, you get it down to this amount. then
Exactly,
do
we can
something else.
amend the
Mrs. Chair.
approval now.
Yes, Charles.
I'm gonna disagree with that. I think what we're doing is we're playing with fire. We have a jail situation that's pretty serious. I think we all understand that. And the least we need, especially at this time, is more lack of services. I think it's one of those expedient things that we need to get done. We have a set amount. We're gonna try to keep it under that. If it doesn't, you have to understand, we were working in-house with Health West, which we had a good sweetheart deal, but now we're not. And, it costs more. So working with an outside source, bidding on it, it's gonna cost us more. And we just have to figure that out. But we do need those services in that jail, in that prison right away, unless we just want to keep having more lawsuits.
And I hear as well, it's very important to have the medical services in there. I mean, that should be our paramount. You have that financing, obviously we'll come back and show you where that dollar amount is coming from. But they were the lowest, correct me if I'm wrong on that, Angie, they were the lowest who, out of the three, they were the lowest one who submitted a proposal.
Oh, she's got
There
it.
you are.
And then Michael Floyd, County Sheriff. Of the three that came in, one only provided like an hourly rate with none of their administrative costs or anything like that. And they actually just kind of got passed over because they didn't provide any information on scheduling or anything also. And then the other one was almost $1 million over on top of this one with none of their administrative costs associated with it.
Marcia.
Yeah, I think if we do have a special meeting, and we also have courts of public safety on the 11th, so we could have a special meeting just for this issue, and I think it would give Mark bargaining power, because we haven't approved that total amount. Am I correct in my thinking, Mark?
I would look to the sheriff and undersheriff who's been involved in the process.
That makes absolute sense to me. And I think we'll fall on our timeline also.
I'm comfortable with that.
Kim.
Okay, the 11th, we're gonna have another meeting. Oh,
With
okay,
committee meetings on the 11th.
Okay,
We already
and
have
the
it.
15th, Health West is done, is that correct?
Right.
Yeah,
So this new provider, are they gonna be able to plug in and get up to speed in 3 days?
There needs to be some overlap.
Something.
Yeah, Linda, let's hear what he has to say, and then you're next.
Hi, Under Sheriff Sanford. Yeah, it is crunch time. The provider that we're looking at in their proposal gave us January 15th as a starting point for transition. So we are going to need to work with Health West on the 15th with this new company coming in if that's where we land. So no, they're not going to just, one leaves and the other one starts up. There's going to be some transition time. We don't know how much that will be, but
May I ask one more question, please?
Yeah, then Melinda's next. Go ahead.
What experience, do we have any idea what experience these people have
That was
with
my question.
inmates?
Yeah, we do. They're a nationwide company. Their original scope was prisons systems. And they actually just completed a deal with Tennessee, which is part of the reason for the delay in getting them up here. They are the provider in Kent County, Ottawa County, and Saginaw County in Michigan currently for jails and or JTC.
Thank you.
Okay, Melinda, did you have? something?
That was my question. I thought that I read that, but then it did also say here that there had to be some training, but they don't need extensive training because they're already familiar. It would just be training within our jail, right? Or what kind of training would they need?
Yeah, I mean, a jail's a jail, but yeah, definitely there'd be some acclimation to our facility itself. The infrastructure, the people, the staff, that type of thing. And the other issue, just to bring that up is, the 15th is coming quickly. Health West has trouble finding staff. The nice part about this company, and one of the positive notes of them, is they've got people in Kent County and Iowa County that we can pull from during that transition until they can be hired here. We did talk with them, and one of their main focuses obviously dealing with healthcare crisis and getting staff in, and they're prepared to do that.
Thank you.
Mr. Brown?
Is this going to be bonded, or how does that work, or do we take on that full
Could you use the
responsibility?
mic, please?
Yeah, use your mics.
I said, is this company bonded, or
Oh.
who takes on the responsibility?
State insurance?
They're required to have insurance, yeah.
They are
The county specifically lists the insurance requirements that they have to have, and that is part of the proposal.
That was part of the proposal. Thank you.
Anybody else? Susan?
I won't. I don't know how much the sheriff has budgeted for this as it is, but the difference is 722,000. I know that not long ago, he got an extra 288,000 for road patrol. If he put that money in and took the 288 out of what he already had in road patrol, that would cover part of that right there. That would cover at least a third of it. So he could take a third of that out of his budget. And we would have to, the difference would be, 2/3 instead of a third. So.
Okay, did somebody want to speak up?
Yeah, I just wanted us, I guess I'm just thinking out loud, but I wanted us to be prepared. I don't know. We have the company and they've been working with Kent County. How long have they been working with Kent
Kent County, 2 years, they've been down in Ottawa for 1.
County? Okay. I
And
guess
again,
the
the
only
original.
concern I
focus-
have, and that's why I'm glad to hear about the insurance, is that everybody's having trouble hiring right now. And so even though we're moving forward with this contract, we need to keep an eye on shortages, on whether they're getting those staff hired in a timely fashion and whether that's warranted. And then if not, we need to be aware of that because, again, my concern is with Health West or with this company is the shortage that could lead to non-healthcare, that could lead to more
Problems.
issues, major issues.
One of the differences between the contract and the MOU will be just that. This is a contract that they're obligated to fulfill.
Okay.
We had an MOU with Health West that was kind of Health West did what they could do. And we really didn't have any standing with it.
And I'm just gonna throw this out there too. I think we need a plan B in case maybe they can't fulfill those obligations.
Well, Plan B is about $1 million more.
Next vote.
Yeah,
Mr. Chair,
I
have a
don't,
question. One more question for Kate.
I don't know if people saw this report on the news today, but I think December was the worst month yet for resignations, people kind of dropping out of the workforce. Susie, you can have a.
Yeah, Jen, I had a question too. Did the other two jails, was this company highly recommended?
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes. And again, they're just getting into the jail market. I think you're gonna see them in many counties in Michigan over time.
Thank you.
Okay. Roll call on this one.
Commissioner Pagel,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Brown,
Yes.
Commissioner Seer,
Yes.
Commissioner Harvey Wright,
Yes.
Vice Chair Hughes,
Yes.
Commissioner Laring,
Yes.
Commissioner Nash,
Yes.
Chairman Skolnick,
Yes.
9 yes.
Okay, that's it. And that-
Before we move on, we need a motion to have a special board meeting.
That's what I was just.
So move.
Okay, so are you gonna make? a
Support.
motion?
Well, that's what I want to talk about. Did we decide, are we gonna have it become at Courts and Public Safety on the 11th, or are we?
We need on the 11th at the latest. We'll have to do a full board on the 11th.
It has to be full.
It has to be
not
a full board.
committee.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make that motion then.
Okay, and there was support, Marcia. You
I made the
supported.
motion also.
All right, so we have a motion to have a full board meeting on the 11th, specifically to discuss the contract for healthcare in the jail. Anybody else? If not, I think we can do a voice vote on this. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so there'll be a special board meeting, and Susie, the chair, vice chair meetings are Saturday night at 9 o'clock.
That sounds correct.
At my house.
Yeah, no problem.
Glad you
All right.
What time are we gonna hold that meeting?
We already have a meeting that day.
Well,
Ways and means would be after that.
Is it gonna be
I was
following
thinking the
or
same
before?
thing. We could technically do it at 3 and then push those other ones down. The only reason is if we put it at the bottom, do we then have to take on Board of Public Safety and Human Services underneath that full board
Well, on the,
on the 11th as well?
no, I don't think the order matters at all.
We don't.
No, because in a special board meeting, you have to have a topic. I mean,
Yes.
and which we do. It's just that one item.
I
So
would
it
just make a motion for 3 o'clock then.
or 4 o'clock, and following that to 3:30. Because the normal meetings start at 3. Let's say 3:30 or 4.
Yeah, you can set the time for a special
Yeah,
meeting.
set it for 3:30 because Ways and Means shouldn't take that long.
You just have to notice it out, so.
And so I'd rather run a little late with Ways and Means.
All right, so the meeting, the special board meeting will be at 3:30 on the 11th. And there'll be a public notice.
So 3:30.
And next is public comment. Is there anybody online? I don't think so.
One thing I want to make a public comment on is, if you look at our board rules, we say we adopt board policies as well. The reason I did not have that on this agenda yet is there were some changes made this last year. And corporate counsel is updating those changes, and so I'll have that ready for you on the 18th.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Could you say that again?
You know, our board policies will be brought to us on the 18th of
Oh, okay.
January.
Okay,
Wait, I got a question for that. I don't remember a meeting on a board. You're talking about board rules?
Yeah.
Sorry, board rules.
We haven't met on changing the board rules.
We discussed changes, we've redlined them, they have not been approved.
That was last year during Zoom.
We can do that actually.
That's what still you're going to consider the revisions.
That were revised in 2020 or 2021?
They were not-
2021.
Yeah, and they weren't revised, they were
Suggest-
proposed revisions.
Yeah.
And so we'll be bringing those proposed revisions for the board's consideration.
Oh, that's a problem.
We never
gotten
finalized.
those proposed change. So that's gonna come on the full board and we haven't seen those changes yet?
It's
Yeah,
gonna
and-
come under Ways and Means, isn't it?
It can come wherever you want it to come to. I'm not that concerned about, I mean, we'll have the opportunity to discuss them and then adopt them accordingly or reject them if you want to reject them.
Okay,
So I'm trying to get those to you as fast as I can.
okay.
Marcia.
Yeah, where did we end up on the required written advance on proposals for new and unfinished business?
I'm sorry.
Well,
what did you-
There's been a lot of discussion about the surprises. And it wasn't presented with any kind of notice, so we couldn't talk with staff, et cetera. I'm wondering where we ended up with the requirement of how much notice, how much in advance we have to get, stuff like that.
You
Well, I
say
believe
she's
we
done-
addressed
writing?
that.
Yeah, I think we did.
I thought we did too, because we said it has to be, you have to have previous written notice to the Board of Commissioners before it can come up. So that's what we talked about.
Okay. If
It doesn't
you wanna
say how much
please,
time, like-
Just raise your hand and do something so I can keep some.
Like a couple times, it was just handed to us as we walked in the meeting. Well, you can't talk with anybody or check out, the information or anything, so. I think there has to be some kind of advance notice so that we can at least check the information.
Marcia, are you talking about the changes to the board rules? We'll have to have
Yeah.
those in advance. We're not just gonna walk into the meeting and then discuss them. Right? I mean,
Well, I'm asking what's in it right now.
We'll get a copy so that we can talk about it, is what he's saying. He's working on that.
Yeah, right now it requires written notice, but we I don't recall whether or not we changed that process. I don't think so, but I don't want to speak out of turn either because I don't have the red line version in front of me. But there is a provision right now in the board rules that requires prior notice.
But it doesn't say how much, like a day, or
Yeah, no, I think that's right. I don't think it does.
can we change that at that meeting?
Yeah, I mean, if that's an issue, the board rules and revisions to those are up for discussion and revision. So whatever the board wants to adopt, the board can adopt. Okay, so none of that's been decided yet, but you'll have an opportunity to do that.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Did we vote on the special meeting?
We did.
Okay, so we've just got a few details out of the way. There's no,
You're at public.
we
comment.
have time now for public comment. There's no one, there's no one from the public here. There's nobody online. So I call the meeting adjourned.